My name is Mike Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's the home of the 5 minute or less a video. I do these YouTubes for three reasons. A, so you can get the information you need. Number two, you make an informed decision. And three, I kind of let you know what IRS thinks on something. So at least you may at least be more educated in where you are. I have today about 3,500 subscribers. Most of my YouTubes, just so you know, really come from you. You want to know stuff, so I'm really happy to tell you. Like I said, I've worked about, I don't know, 10,000 cases. I've been doing this for 50 years. I'm a national expert. I've been in all the major TV news stations. So whatever I tell you pretty much is going to be the gospel. If anyone is telling you anything different than I am, they're either lying, but most don't know what they're talking about enough to be lying. So as a former revenue officer, I taught the offer and compromise. I taught the offer and compromise program. I used to accept offers and deny offers, and I was so good they sent me to Atlanta to train other people to work offers. So I am really one of the leading experts in the offer and compromise. For me, I don't take an offer and compromise, work it, or take money unless I know you've got a chance to have that offer accepted. By the way, if you're looking for a company to hire, if it's not us, just remember this. Before you give your money to anybody, make sure they've looked at the IRS financial statement, either the 433A or the 433A OIC. Do not give anybody a penny until they've looked at that form and tell you that your offer can be accepted or has a reasonable chance. What's reasonable to me? Probably 90-95%. I can tell you within seconds of looking at your financial statement whether you're going to have a chance for an offer and compromise. So anyway, just so you know, I have a whole team of former IRS agents on staff. I want to talk to you today so you know what the offer and compromise formula is. There's only one formula, and this is if you owe money, the doubt to collectability offer and compromise. There's three types of offers, just so you know. So the one we're talking about today is if you owe debt and you can't pay it. This is it. It comprises of just two things. You may want to take a little note to write this down. IRS wants to know what the value of your assets are, and they want to know what the value of your income is. Those are the two things. IRS doesn't care about anything else but those two things. So let's look first at the asset portion. If you have the money to pay the tax, and you just don't want to liquidate it or sell, IRS is not going to accept your offer and compromise. If you owe, let's say, $50,000 and you have $50,000 in assets, IRS is not going to accept the offer. Don't call someone and try to get your offer accepted and let them take money. You're not going to settle your case. You must give IRS your total liquidity before IRS is going to accept the offer. It doesn't even make sense. People want to throw money all the time at me and says, Michael, work my case. I said, you can't. You got the money to pay the tax. IRS is not going to negotiate that. Please keep that in mind. Don't call me and say, well, I have $100,000 in assets and I only owe 50 and I want to settle. I'm not taking a case. Anyone who takes it is ripping you off. So you must give IRS your total liquidity in your assets. IRS discounts real estate by 20%, just so you know. Now let's look at the second part of the offer and compromise. The second part of the offer is your income minus your necessary living expenses. For this illustration, it would be well if you picked up a 433A, not the 433 OIC, but the 433A. Those are the ones the revenue officer uses, and it's the best teaching tool that I can give you. I've worked so many of these. I filled out so many. It'll help you better understand the offer formula. If you know on line 1 you have to put your total assets, on line 2 IRS wants to know how much money you have left over a month to give IRS. So how this works, on the 433A, which I wish you would look at, you're going to put your income. Then you're going to put your living expenses down. But there's another column in there, and it's called for IRS use only. The only thing IRS gives a crap about is for IRS use only. IRS is going to insist on their numbers for 4 categories: food and clothing, for housing and utilities, for vehicle operation and operation cost and ownership cost. You can go Google IRS national expense for, put in food and clothing. You'll find out what food and clothing is. You'll find out for housing and utilities. They'll bring you a page to a state, and then you'll click on the county. They'll tell you what you're going to allow you for that. Then they're going to tell you what you can spend on your car payment, and then they will tell you what it costs to operate those vehicles. IRS, for the most part, is going to stick to all those standards. What IRS is doing is they're locking you into X amount of expenses. So if you have $5,000 worth of income a month, and you spend $5,000 worth of income a month, that's usually you have nothing left over. But IRS is going to put their numbers in, not yours. So if IRS puts their numbers in, and they only allow $4,000 a month, you have $1,000 left over a month. What's IRS going to do with that money? IRS is going to multiply that $1,000 you have left over a month by the number of months you have left on your statute. So if you have $1,000 left over a month and you have 5 years left on your statute, that's a 60 factor. That's 12 months times 5 is a 60 factor. IRS is going to add your assets up, what you have left over at the end of the month times the life of the statute, and that is the offer and compromise formula. It consists of two things. Once again, your assets plus looking at your income and your necessary living expenses. If you are not familiar with the IRS national standards for income for your expenses, do not even bother filling out the offer or doing it yourself. You must understand the IRS national standards. I've made other videos on that. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, once you've acquired and understand the national standard, proceed with the offer as long as you fit in the box. If you don't, you better have somebody look at your case. Don't pay anybody anything. If you think you're going to hire them for an offer, let them look at it for free and let them decide whether you are offer worthy. I will not take any money unless I've reviewed an offer to let you know you have a chance. Offer and compromise, extend the statute a year. The cases take a year to go ahead and put, but you got to understand the offer and compromise formula. If not, it's just not an educated guess. It's definitive. If this information was helpful, please give me a subscription. YouTube thrives on subscriptions, so do I. If you have an idea for a YouTube, go ahead and put it. Let me know. Thank you so much for listening. If you leave me a comment and the comment's worthy and you want me to do a YouTube, I'll probably do that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.